In this session, we are going to look at internal links for the WordPress SEO plugin by Yoast. If you're not familiar with Breadcrumbs, let's take a look at an example right here. I've gone to bnhphotovideo.com, and here's a good example of what Breadcrumbs actually look like. Whenever you're navigating through a website, you can always discover where you're currently located by looking down at what's called the breadcrumbs. So this is where we are on the camcorders page, and there's a camcorders page, and then from there, if we back up and get back to the home page. So what it does, the breadcrumbs leaves a trail to let you discover the path that you've been navigating through the website. So let's go back to the internal links section of the SEO plugin. In order to activate the breadcrumb settings, you need to click on the Enable Breadcrumbs. You can choose a selector to separate the breadcrumbs. Typically, some people will use a symbol like this, a dash, or sometimes even multiple symbols. For the home page, you can precede it with a word instead of home. So let's say B&H photo. You can have a prefix for the breadcrumb path too as well, so you can indicate the path there. For the archive section, you can have a prefix for that breadcrumb too as well, much like the home page. For the search page, you can have a breadcrumb prefix too as well. And if somebody reaches a 404 or a missing page, there can be a breadcrumb for that too as well. You can select to remove blog pages from the breadcrumbs too as well. And next, for posts, you can determine what shows up in the breadcrumbs, either category, tag, or the format. You can also determine the format of the breadcrumb for the last page of the breadcrumb by bolding that. Otherwise, you can use a custom breadcrumbs for your theme. To summarize today's lesson, we looked at internal links and in particular the breadcrumb settings. Once you enable the breadcrumb setting, then you can select what type of separator you would like to use for your breadcrumbs. We also look at the anchor text, the prefix for the breadcrumb path, prefix for the archive breadcrumbs, and then for the search page as well. And if you have a 404 page where the page cannot be found, then you can add a breadcrumb for that too. You can remove blog pages from the breadcrumbs as well as to look at the taxonomy for your breadcrumbs for posts, whether it's tags, categories, and so on. Next, we look at bolding. And lastly, we look at the code that you can manually add to create a breadcrumb for your pages. In the next session, we're going to look at RSS feeds